let's hear from the Philippine Stock Exchange now. It's President and CEO Val Suarez for his reactions.
Governor Titanco, Secretary Padaranga, Secretary Domingo, Secretary Purisima, Secretary Abad, my colleagues in the public and private sector, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I met Secretary Cesar last night in a cocktail, and he asked me to be kind in my reaction. If you believe the stock market is the barometer of economic development, economic performance, then we are leading the pack in a long-distance marathon. The PSEI surged by 14.7% as of August 17, 2010, and has breached the 3,500-point resistance level on August 10 to record its highest level in more than 2 years since the crisis. Other market indicators also show significant improvement. The volumes of trade in the market has jumped by 32.5%, as the daily turnover for the first half of the year stood at 4.2 billion pesos from 3.2 billion in the same period last year. There's sustained buying interest from foreign investors, as the net foreign buying almost doubled by 15.7 billion in the first half from 8.3 billion. Meanwhile, our domestic investors are starting to realize the benefits of investing in the stock market, as their share in trading as of the first half of the year has increased by 70%, from 50% 2 or 3 years ago. And lately, for the month of July, foreign buying has actually increased to 40%. Valuations have also improved significantly since the crisis, with the market PE now at 11 times its earnings. Listed companies have raised 32.8 billion in fresh capital, close to hitting the 38.8 billion capital raised for the full year of 2009. Benchmarking against our peers in the region, your exchange is one of the fastest growing stock markets in Asia. As of first half of 2010, we ranked second against other Asian exchanges in terms of growth in the main index and domestic market capitalization. The trading velocity of our market, albeit lower, has eased post-crisis, remains at respectable levels, with our stock market velocity dipping by just 21%, the lowest drop recorded among Asian markets on a year-to-date basis. The stock market also plays a vital role in fueling economic growth, with its ability to provide companies an alternative and cheaper venue to raise capital to expand their businesses. At the same time, it allows investors to increase their wealth through investing in companies requiring funds. The end result is an increased economic activity, which drives economic growth. With this objective in mind, we hope to sustain and keep the market vibrant with the support of the government. Despite our market's strong performance, we still see some issues that need to be addressed. These include the absence of more sophisticated investment products, the general lack of liquidity in the market, and a challenging legal environment. With a population of close to 90 million Filipinos, less than 1%, or an estimated 500,000, invests in the stock market. We also have to improve on our roster of listed companies to attract more investors. Based on our estimates, less than 70 out of the top 1,000 corporations of the Philippines are listed on the stock exchange. To address these concerns, the PSE is taking an active role in pursuing a number of its initiatives under its strategic agenda. To expand our investor base, we have lined up activities that are focused on market education to help deepen market breadth, both in the short term and long term. An integral part of this strategy is the implementation of a 3-unit subject on capital markets for our college students taking up business administration. We are also looking at expanding into general college education, which will require all college students to take up this said subject. Another milestone which the exchange expects to achieve this year is the integration of stock market topics in high school curriculum. We are also grateful to our government in helping create a more conducive environment for investments. Last June 30, 2009, a law was passed abolishing the documentary stamp tax on the trading of shares in the exchange. This law effectively reduced friction costs and helped increase trading activity in the market, as total turnover for the second half of 2009 surged by 55% compared with the trading levels in the first half of the year. The passage of the law also sent a strong message to the investing public about the exchange and the government's commitment to improve the local stock market by, among other things, making the exchange competitive with others around the region. The passage of the Real Estate Investment Trust Law, or REITs, is also expected to generate investments through the stock market. The implementing rules and regulations of the law was already approved by our SEC, and we are awaiting the revenue regulations from the BIR. We expect an IPO wave when the Philippine REITs are finally put in place. And the proposed law offers attractive incentives for REITs wanting to list on the exchange. While concerns were raised on the impact of this new law on the fiscal health of our country, we at the exchange believe that the unlocking of the values of real estate assets and reinvesting the proceeds into the economy has a multiplier effect that will offset the tax entitlements provided by law. More importantly, we hope that the REITs will attract new retail investors and lead to the democratization of wealth. At the ASEAN level, we have been working to enhance intra-ASEAN trading and market ASEAN as an asset class globally through the development of a common electronic gateway called the ASEAN Linkage. The linkage will electronically connect the bourses of Malaysia, Singapore, Thailand, and the Philippines. We also expect the exchanges of Vietnam and Indonesia to come on board at a later time. Finally, improving corporate governance practices among listed companies is being prioritized to further improve investor confidence. Corporate governance has become one of the top criteria of global investors in making their investment decisions and a critical element in restoring investor confidence. In this connection, the PSE started a number of corporate governance initiatives that would benefit the market. The ongoing projects include the upgrading of our listing and disclosure rules as we continue to align with international best practices. We are also pursuing the development of a corporate governance-based listing board called the Maharlika Board for listed companies that want to voluntarily impose higher standards of corporate governance. Transparency helps investors make better, informed decisions, and there is a body of evidence that this translates to higher corporate valuations. The long-pending market regulation spin-off earlier this year is another historic move on the part of the exchange that will reduce regulatory-related issues with respect to broker-dealers at the Philippine Stock Exchange board level and will elevate corporate governance processes through a more professional and independent organization. We look forward to the early approval of this new regulatory company by the SEC. In closing, we at the PSE are optimistic that the recovery of the global market and the improved sentiment locally shall increase trade volumes this calendar year. The favorable economic backdrop and the positive outlook of investors on emerging economies such as the Philippines presents bright prospects for your exchange. Thank you and have a good day.
Thank you, Mr. Suarez. Up next,